Happy morning. So myself Reshma, welcome you all to today's session. So in design and analysis of algorithms, till now we have discussed many algorithmic techniques, starting from brute force approach, divide and conquer, greedy technique, decrease and conquer, etc. And today, in my session, I would like to share a very important, a very powerful algorithmic technique, that is dynamic programming. So in dynamic programming, it is a very powerful algorithmic strategy. As the name indicates, dynamic programming is a very powerful algorithmic strategy, and it is similar to divide and conquer in breaking down the problem into smaller possible subproblems. But here subproblems are overlapping. That is, the results of each subproblem can be reused, and hence we can use this to solve optimization and combinatorial problems. And dynamic programming, it has its own features, like the subproblems are overlapping, that is, they are not independent and they cannot be solved. That is, here we are not solving those subproblems using recursion, but each subproblem will be solved only once, and the partial result will be stored in the form of a table, and that result can be used to solve the next solution. So in this way, by using solution of some smaller subproblems, an optimal solution can be achieved. It also has a property called memorization. The purpose or the advantage of this memorization is it avoids repeated work just by remembering the partial results. It can be solved using bottom up and also top down approach. And the problem solved using dynamic programming, it will just take big O of n square or n cube time, which would be in terms of exponential time if for new approaches. So with these benefits, different applications, different problems of real world can be solved using dynamic programming. Here I have mentioned a few, starting from knapsack, Floyd's, Warshall, Bellman-Ford, and TSP, that is traveling salesperson problem. So knapsack problem is used to find maximum profit. Floyd's to solve all page shortest path problem. Warshall's to construct a transitive closure for the graph. Using Bellman-Ford, finding single source. Using single source, finding shortest path to all other vertices, even in the presence of negative weights for the edges. And then it will be used to help a traveling salesperson to solve his problem of finding the minimum tour. So now we'll see in brief what are these problems, what should be input, and what we'll be expecting as an output after applying dynamic programming. If I go for the knapsack, knapsack is a bag which is having some capacity W, where n items are given and we need to add these items into the bag. So where each item is having its own weight Wi, and by adding these weights we'll be adding some profit Vi, that is profit P. So now while packing these objects, items into the bag, we have to consider two constraints, that is we need to achieve maximum profit by adding the weights such that weight of the objects should not exceeds capacity of the bag. So by maintaining these constraints, we need to achieve the optimal solution, that is maximum profit, using knapsack problem. So this problem can be used to solve many real-time problems. And we can solve, it can have two varieties, either fractional knapsack or zero knapsack. But if I go for fraction knapsack, that can't be solved using dynamic approach. For that we have to go for greedy strategy, but we can't ensure optimal solution there. If we go for zero knapsack, it's having its own special properties, like the items cannot be broken. Means it is, as the name indicates, the zero knapsack. Zero is indicate we have to leave it completely if it is not fitting into our bag, or we have to take an item completely only once. So it is one here. And to solve this, we have to use our special, the powerful technique, dynamic programming. Our next example for us, or the pictorial representation as I have shown here, like a bag with some capacity 5 and the 4 objects with weights W1 to W4, each having profit P1 to P4. So now I have to fill this bag to get the maximum profit. For that we have to use dynamic programming. And so I want to add some point here. Any problem using dynamic programming can be solved by the construction of a table which contains rows and columns. At the first step, we need to construct a table with, according to the problem, with specific number of rows and columns. Then we need to initialize some values for the table by filling the first row and or the first column. With some assumptions, with some constraints, we need to fill first row and or first column. After filling first row or first column, to get the next row or next column, we need to take the help of, or the partial result which is stored in previous row, previous column. To fill first row, take the help of 0th row. To fill second row, we need to take the help of first row. So like this, to fill the last row, we have to take the help of last but one row. And in dynamic programming, always the solution will be available in the last row, sometimes last row and last column. So now in the same way, to find optimal solution or maximum profit for zero knapsack, we need to construct a table. So here I have given a already constructed table, and as I said, the solution will be available at last row, last column. So here the 37 is the maximum profit which we can earn by adding these weights into the bag by maintaining the constraints. Then how I am getting this 37 as optimal solution, which objects to be added, so that I will discuss in detail in my next session. So next example is here, Floyd's algorithm to find all pairs shortest path for the given graph. So now whenever we will be applying some algorithms, it should work for some legitimate input. So now here the specific input for Floyd's algorithm is we need to take a weighted directed graph which may contains both negative and positive weights. First I need to represent this graph in the form of a matrix. So here this matrix is called here as weighted matrix. Now we'll see how to fill the values for weighted matrix. In weighted matrix, if I see here, the main diagonal should contain 0. A to A, B to B, C to C, D to D, 0. Then starting from A, I need to search for direct edge from A to other vertices. Now first I will check, is the direct edge from A to B? No. If there is no direct edge, infinity. A to C, yes I have direct edge with weight 3. So I have to write here 3. A to D, there is no direct edge, so it is infinity. Similarly, let's check it for example here D. Now from D to A, I have direct edge 6. D to B, no direct edge, infinity. D to C, no direct edge. See here, this edge is from C to, we have to check the direction also. This is not from D to C, it is from C to D. So D to C is infinity, and see here, and C to D is 1. So now D to D main diagonal 0. So like this, from one vertex to other vertex, we need to check for direct edge, and based on the presence or absence of the direct edge, we need to fill value or infinity. So now we need to apply Floyd's algorithm towards finding shortest path between all pairs. After applying here, I got this matrix. It is called as here distance matrix, which gives shortest path between each and every pair of vertices. Now, if I compare to weighted matrix and distance matrix, for example, here A to B was 0. Now I got it as 10. Means in weighted distance matrix, we are searching for a path, not direct edge. We need to search for a direct path. So means, can I reach vertex B from A? Not with single edge, maybe n number of edges which forms a path. For example, here to reach A to B, so I can't reach directly, but A to C and C to B, I can reach A to B. So here 3 plus 7, 10. Similarly, A to D, there is no direct edge, but here I have written 4. Means A to C, C to D. Check here direction also. So 3 plus 1, 4. So in the same way here, green color values I have given for the paths which are not available in our weighted matrix. Now here I want to check, I'll show here how D to B is 16. So to reach D to B, so what we have done, so D to A, that is 6, A to C, 3, 6 plus 3, 9, C to B, 9 plus 7, 16. So like this we have found, but we may have more than one path from one vertex to another vertex. But among those, we need to select the shortest path. How to do that? Again, we discuss this in depth in my coming sessions. So here, this is final graph for distance matrix. Our next example is Warshall's algorithm. This is similar to Floyd's, but here it works for unweighted graph. So weights are not given, and the purpose is to find transitive closure for the given graph. In the same way, this also works for some legitimate inputs for this unweighted graph. First, I need to write adjacency matrix. In Floyd's, I have written weighted matrix, but here it should be adjacency matrix. Now, same as weighted matrix, here first I need to fill main diagonal with 0. Then, if I have a direct edge from one vertex to another vertex, it should be 1. If there is no direct edge, it is 0. Means presence of direct edge 1, absence of direct edge 0. So now here I will show it for some two vertices. Like if I start with vertex A, I have direct edge from A to B. There is no direct edge from A to other vertices. So A to B is 1, all other values are 0. Now if I check for C, can I reach C to any other vertex directly with single edge? No. So C to all other vertices is 0. Like this, main diagonal 0, edge present 1, absent 0. Then we need to check for direct path, that is transitive edge. After finding the transitive edge, we'll be getting here transitive closure for the given graph. So here 1 indicate presence of path from one vertex to another vertex with some intermediate vertices, not direct edge. So now for example here A to C was 0 because there is no direct edge from A to C. But here A to C is 1, means here I found some path to reach from A to C with some intermediate vertices. See for example here A to B I can go, B to D, then from D to C I can reach. So I can reach A to C with intermediate vertices B and D. So that I have to replace by C. In the same way, we need to apply for all the vertices A to A to B, A to C, A to D. Similarly, from B to other vertices, C to other vertices, D to other vertices. Finally, we need to write the path in this way. Presence of path 1, absence of path 0. Here presence of edge 1, absence of edge is 0. Again in detail, the working of these partials I'll discuss later in my next coming sessions. So then we have a Bellman-Ford algorithm to find or to solve single source shortest path problem for a given graph. So, but we have already solved the problems related to finding single source shortest path. This we have done using greedy technique, that is using Dijistra's algorithm. But what is the difference here? The Bellman-Ford can also be used to find single source shortest path, but here it allows negative weights for the edges also. But Dijistra's, it works only for positive weights. This is one advantage of Bellman-Ford, so that we can solve many real world problems which includes negative values in their instances, in their inputs, like in electricity, current flow. So like this, we are having many applications where it should work for negative values also. So there we are taking the help of our Bellman-Ford algorithm. And so here, theoretically, we will see for the given weighted graph with negative weights to find the single source shortest path algorithm problem solving here. So again, as we said, we need to construct a table. So here there are 7 vertices represented as columns. If there are two vertices, I can have one edge. In the same way, if I have n vertices, I can have n minus 1 edges. Here I have 7 vertices, so 7 minus 1, 6 edges are used to represent the rows. Now in the first row, we need to find the shortest path from one source to all other vertices with one edge. Second row indicates source to all other vertices with 2 edges, with 3 edges, 4, 5 and maximum we can have 6 edges. So last row indicates source to distance from source to all other vertices with 6 edges. So that is here source to 1, if the source is 1, 1 to 1 is 0, 1 to 2 is 1, distance from 1 to 3 is 3, distance from 1 to 4 is 5, 1 to 5 is 0, 1 to 6 is 0, distance from 1 to 7 is 3. So then again, how to find this? How to extract this shortest path from one source to all other vertices based on these number of edges using dynamic programming. So in depth we'll study later. So this is just brief overview how the dynamic programming works for different applications. And finally here I have considered traveling salesperson problem to find the shortest path or the minimum tour, the optimal tour, which will be very helpful to any salesperson to solve his problem related to which distance, which cities he need to visit and all. For example, here I have 4 cities. Assume that the source salesperson will start from city 1, then he need to decide among second, third and fourth city, which city he need to visit first. After visiting the first city, which next city he has to visit, which should be the next city, so that he can cover the minimum distance, minimum tour. Again, to solve this, dynamic programming will provide a very big help here. So the same way for the given graph, first we need to write weighted matrix as we already discussed, main diagonal 0, presence of edges 10, absent is infinity. So now here just I will show one example. 1 to 2 is 10, 2 to 1 is 5. So directions are very important. Like this, for this given graph we have constructed a weighted matrix. Then by applying the Bellman for the DSP problem using dynamic programming, so here we found that starting from city 1, first the salesperson has to visit city 2 by covering a distance of 10. Now from 2 again he has to decide whether to reach 3 or 4. So here we'll reach 4. Then from 4 he will go to city 3. He has covered all the cities. Finally he has to go back to his hometown. He'll go to his place 3 to 1. So starting from 1, visiting all cities exactly once, coming back to his place, he has covered 10 plus 10 plus 9 plus 6, total 35 units of distance he has covered. So this indicates the distance from source 1 to all other vertices is 35, and how we are extracting this we'll study in depth in detail in my next sessions. So these are some of the examples of dynamic programming by using the brief overview of this. So now if you have any doubts about the working of dynamic programming concepts, so please feel free to share your comments, ask your doubts, questions through my comment session. And I hope you have already subscribed to my channel. If not, please subscribe and encourage to deliver the best, to serve more. And if you feel it's worth, please like and share my channel to all the students community so that they can make best use of it. Thank you again.